Hello, friends. Welcome back to the School of Self-Worth. I'm your host, Nicole Song. Today, we have got a doozy of a special guest for you, and I cannot wait to talk to you about her expertise because it goes back for me to elementary school when I started wearing glasses. But until I met today's guest, I did not know that it was not normal to push your glasses up your face constantly because that has been my life experience. And then I met Florence Shin, the co founder of Covry, an eyewear company. And I learned that it's because my glasses were not made for women who had a lower bridge nose like myself. Talk about mind blowing. I mean, seriously, I was so thrilled by my experience trying on Covry's glasses, which do not slide down my nose, and even learning the test you can have with glasses to see if they move or don't move on your face, that I just had to bring her on to share her story about founding her company and really on a deeper level, helping Asian American women feel seen and empowered through their eyewear. It's honestly so fun to talk to Florence, so I cannot wait to share this story and her story with you today. And before we get going, if you are a high achieving Asian American corporate leader who's been passed over for promotion and wants to nail this next promotion cycle, DM me promoted on Instagram at Nicole Song, and I've got something there for you. Okay, friends, let's dive into this super fun conversation. Florence, welcome to the School of Self-Worth. I'm so excited you're here.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, I've been like, I cannot, ever since I met Florence, I guess it was like a little bit over a month ago, I was like, I cannot wait till she comes on. It's going to be so much fun to have this conversation with you. I'm just going to take us back to how Florence and I met. And we were both at the Asian American Journalists Association convention. And I, of course, went to the talk that's all about like founders and people who have businesses, even though it's at a journalism conference. And I was like, oh, like I just really I'm interested actually in people who, tend to focus more on Asian American audiences. And I feel like I learned so much during that session. And, Florence, especially like just what you do, first of all, their sunglasses are awesome. And I haven't tried on glasses, but I love the sunglasses. I bought two pairs and I've been switching them up and wearing them all around, even though I live in Seattle, which is like not really sunglass territory, but I was like, I really want these sunglasses. And by the way, people have been giving me compliments on one of my pairs, like just randomly. They're like, wow, those are great. I'm like, yeah, I know. You should go to Covry and check out these sunglasses. Yeah.
That's
But
amazing.
I'm really getting ahead of myself. But that's how we met is, she was talking about her business. And so I got really excited just to hear about it because I feel like there's not tons of businesses out there who specifically are in this area. And you and I both, that's both of us are working with specifically Asian American women in particular.
Mhm.
And so I would love to hear, I don't know your journey. I just really chatted with you a little bit, shopped for some sunglasses with you. And then I would really love to hear for you, like from the very beginning, kind of like how you got to this place where you now have Covry, where you're really doing the work that you're doing.
Yeah. So we started Covry back in 2015, and when we started, I would have never known that I would still be here doing this, and I'm so grateful. But we started the company. I started with a good friend of mine, and we both grew up in America, been wearing glasses our entire lives, both of us since elementary school. And I think just we had become so like having glasses be uncomfortable just became the norm for us, and we accepted it for so long, right? Like we would always go to the optical store to get our new glasses for the year. We try everything on and maybe like one pair fits, but that it's either like too expensive or it's not really the style we want. We were always compromising something. And my co-founder Athena, so she was telling me about her issues with it, and I was like, I have the same issues too. And it's just something that wasn't really spoken about because it was so normal to believe that eyewear was uncomfortable. And so in 2015, we started a Kickstarter campaign just to kind of test the market and see if there was a real need for this. And we raised almost 300% of our initial fundraising goal, which is really what propelled us to launch the business because we were able to fundraise our brand. And that's kind of how it all started.
That's wild. Well, I mean, I want to go back to what you were saying about like how it was just so normal. And I think even for me meeting you, because like I've bought sunglasses like in Asia and it's been different because like they would stay on my face and I was like, oh yeah, of course. But like when you're Asian, you have like a lower bridge, a flatter face. Like there's just your cheekbones are a little. There's different things that you don't even think about that are very particular when you're wearing glasses. And I wore glasses till like fifth grade, and then I went contacts because I couldn't do it. Like they just didn't stay on my face. They were super uncomfortable. And I'm curious, like when you said that there was a demand like that, do you think that for so many, Asian American men and women, they've just accepted for a really long time that their glasses don't fit
Yeah.
well?
Yeah. I think a lot of times we don't even realize that it doesn't fit because it's been so long of us having to push up our glasses. You think that's just the norm, and it's almost like a habit of, putting your glasses up. We actually have customers who, after even having Covry, they put their hand up to put their frame up only just out of habit because they've been doing that for so many years, even though their frames are exactly where they should be. So it's really funny. But yeah, it's a lot of times it's that when you try the Covry frames on, there's a moment where you have this aha moment because you finally realize that this is how they should fit, because they're not sliding down, they're not hitting your cheeks. And I think it was interesting for me and Athena early on, because when we started going to like these eyewear trade shows and meeting with manufacturers and kind of being at these industry events, none of the designers really looked like us. So of course they weren't going to really consider these different diverse facial features in their designs. And so I think it was a really cool opportunity for us to try something, and then Kickstarter kind of gave us that validation of, hey, this is something beyond just the two of us, and there's a real need for this, because we also had a lot of feedback of, oh, this is too niche, your business idea is too niche, it's too small, it's not going to work. And we really wanted to, we knew there was a market, right? It was like our friends, our family, we knew that there was something bigger. And so I'm really glad that we had that opportunity to start.
Yeah, it is really interesting because I think sometimes people think of the Asian American community as really small, but it's really big. Like it really is. It's like 9 million and growing. It's like the fastest growing group in the United States. And it's like really fascinating to me when people are like, oh, it's so niche. And I'm like, well, that's because you're not Asian. Like I think that's sometimes part of it.
Yeah. There's a lot of us. And I think even if we are a smaller population compared to others, that doesn't mean that there isn't a market for it.
Right.
And it's not that it should be ignored, right? So
Right.
I think I find a lot of joy being able to design and create a product that is for us, and because you feel seen, right? You feel like worthy. That I think a lot of times, because the market typically, like mass market, doesn't prioritize it, you feel like you're not worthy. But to have a product that's specifically designed for you and made for you, it's a feeling that I think we don't feel often, but we should feel more often, and it should feel normal.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, as you were talking about it, I was thinking about beauty and how probably, I guess it was maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, nobody had lines that covered the range of actual skin color for women, right? All colors, all types. And then now I'm thinking about, though, probably the same thing is true then of glasses. Like they don't address different facial features or different needs in any of the mainstream lines that I feel like I know about. Like I don't know if I walked in, someone would be like, oh, you definitely need XYZ for your face, right?
Yeah. I think when we first started, diversity in like that word itself was not even being talked about. Like it was just starting to become quote unquote trendy. And so being an inclusive brand, like that was like not really something that people were like didn't really understand at first. And I think even within the eyewear industry, there were a few brands that did have what you call Asian fit. But I think a lot of times it was kind of just off to the side. There's like a tiny little section for it. But we really wanted to create something where everything is designed to fit. And now you can finally pick out which style that you actually want, right? And it's not just that one or two style that you tried on in the store that fits.
Yeah, it's such an interesting thing because, like, back when you started, I'm curious, like, in your own journey, because obviously you had, your co-founder, but what was your journey around being like, because you were in fashion before, is that right? What was it like? Because in fashion probably wasn't also at that time very diverse either, I would assume.
No, no. But I think the fashion industry was a little bit more forward because you have a lot of Asian designers. You have,
Mm-hmm.
obviously there was a lot of improvements in the last 10 years. But yeah, I think coming from that world and then entering eyewear industry, we saw even more how less diverse it was and how much more work there was to be done.
Yeah, so like you were coming from a world that had some of it, but then really going into a world, it sounds like then had a lot of growth to go. And then going in there, like how were you, like how did you get to that place of like, this is important? And like you said, I know that Kickstarter was part of it, but even
Mhm.
before that point, because you had to also enter, it sounds like, did you have any eyewear experience before that?
We had zero
Okay. Yeah. Like, can you tell us a little
experience.
bit about that? Because I feel like for anybody as the entrepreneur in me, I'm like, wow, that is like such a big leap.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we were really young, to be honest, so kind of just ignorance is bliss. um, but I mean, yeah, so I think not actually having direct eyewear experience, I try to think of it as an advantage to us because it did allow us to think a little bit more beyond the box, or like that standard way of thinking within the industry, traditional way. And so Fit was approached with a very kind of one size fits all approach. And us not coming from this industry, I think we were like, that doesn't make sense to us. Let's try to fix
Mm-hmm.
it. Um, and although we did not have direct eyewear experience, both my co founder worked in fashion. I worked in PR and marketing. She worked in design and production. So we were able to apply some of the things that we had already experienced into this new business, although a lot of it was really honestly just like a huge learning curve in the beginning. And we asked a lot of questions. And I think it was definitely really scary because we didn't know a lot, and a lot of it was trial and error. But our community was always extremely like and vocal about how the products made them feel. And ultimately, I think that's what really helped drive us and continue our mission, because they would tell us about times where, how when they put the products on, they finally felt seen after like 30 years of going to the optometry store and not being able to find something that fit them. And I think just stories like that, it really, really motivates us to continue our business and to continue creating products that are specifically designed for them.
Well, and then how did you two like so you started out like completely new to the, the industry itself, but then there's also the marketing side of it. And coming in again like a niche area that at the time probably people weren't marketing very much in that direction. Like how did you start to figure that out? Like how do I get people besides my friends and family
Mm-hmm.
to find out about these glasses and buy them?
We're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
um, I think I think it's just really finding people that can genuinely connect with your mission. Um, so something that I think we've been doing from the very beginning is like, whether we're pitching to editors or pitching, or trying to get in front of influencers, the most important thing for us to be able to work together is that they genuinely connect with our mission and really understand what our product is trying to solve. Because if they don't, then it's not really going to be a good, sustainable relationship. Um, so we do try to find people that can connect with it, and like influencers, for example, like we will just offer to send them product to see if they even love it, and if they
Mhm.
do, that's kind of when we can really start the discussion. Um, I've I feel like this business is a baby, right? And even the people we work with, like we really try to treat them like family, and that extends into people we work with, whether they're marketing partners, our factories, and so that's kind of how we try to approach it.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I remember you and I talked about it in Austin a bit about like, really just like having your story resonate with people. And like you said, it's like really your own story of having trouble with glasses. And it's funny since you said that now I always notice when people are like pushing their glasses up all the time. I'm like, need some better fitting glasses because they're just sliding down your face. But it's sort of funny because it's true. Like, I think until even I had talked to you, like, I never really thought about it because I don't wear glasses that much because I wear contacts.
Mm-hmm.
But even my regular glasses don't actually fit that great. And I was like, oh man, I should have bought some regular frames when I was trying them all on so that when I get new glasses, like I'll already have them set. But it is a kind of interesting thing because it's like you're selling something that people don't even realize
Mm-hmm.
is a challenge half the time, right?
Yeah, I think the educational piece of it was always a challenge
Mm-hmm.
because from the beginning, like I was saying, there weren't that many other brands that were doing this, or it was kind of just like a off to the side, low priority for them. And so, what was my thought? Can we edit this part?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
If you lost your train of thought, we'll just edit it. Just come back when you're ready.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wait, sorry. What was your question?
What's my question? Education. Like, what is it like to have to educate people because they don't even recognize it's a problem?
Yeah. So the education piece of it was always a challenge for us because just to your point exactly, like a lot of times people don't even realize that the frames are ill-fitting or uncomfortable or that something could be better than this. So for us, it was just always our mission to get it on as many people as possible. So we tried to do as many in-person events. We opened our own store. We did home try-on. So really just trying to get people to physically put them on so that they can experience for themselves how it feels. But also I think we were very intentional from the beginning. So at Covry, we have what we call elevated fit. And these have different design changes to make the frames fit more comfortably if you have a lower nose bridge or higher cheekbones. And from the beginning, we were very intentional about calling it elevated fit and not having it feel like it's exclusive to one group of people or anything, because it is inclusive and it still works for everyone. And it's not just limited to certain people, right? It's made to be more comfortable for everyone.
Yeah, and do you feel like people respond to that then? Like, oh, because, right, you don't have to be Asian to, again, have like a lower bridge or higher cheekbones. It could be anybody, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then where were you, like this podcast is really about self-worth. And you were talking about like that place of feeling worthy and seen with the glasses. And then I'm curious for you, like you and Athena in developing this business, like how have you been able to keep it up? Because you said it's been, almost 10 years and you still feel like it's a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And like how do you maintain your own, just like saying, okay, like this is important or this is what I want to keep doing. I want to keep doing it. And like again, I can only imagine when you have a product that is coming from around the world and you're sourcing it and doing all of those pieces, like what it takes to keep going with the business.
Yeah, it's really hard. Like there are times that are really, really difficult. And I'm sure you know this too as an entrepreneur yourself. Like you have highs, you have lows. For me, from a personal standpoint, like I think having a really good co-founder or support group is really important, because when things are going great, it's obvious, it's very easy, right? You could do this all day, every day, but you're going to have lows and it's inevitable. And I think having a good support group that you can go to kind of just talk through the challenges and like talk through ideas and figure out what your goals are and make sure that you're focused on those goals to help guide your decisions, especially during the tough times, I think has really gotten us through all these years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it must help so much to have another person with you and believing in the product deeply too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and have you over time too then really expanded what you offer? Like did you start with like a small number of glasses at the beginning and then like were sunglasses part of it? Like how did you guys grow?
Yeah. So we started with just 3 sunglasses, and now we have, we've expanded that collection. We have a optical glasses collection, and we offer prescription lenses, home try-ons. So we've grown a lot over the years, and I will credit that to our community because they're always the ones that are telling us what they want. Just as an example, like we started selling optical glasses just, with clear non-prescription frames, and our customers kept sending us their prescription. We're like, oh, we're so sorry. We cannot sell this for you. And over time, we're just like, you know what? Let's figure it out. Let's figure out how we can make this happen for our community.
Okay, so people are like, I need you to actually make my prescription glasses for
Yeah.
me. And so then you're like, okay, I guess we'll work this out. Yeah. And then how do you feel like in terms of, being like an Asian American founder, like if there's particular challenges that you feel like are different or more for, since you're in that position?
I think just being, I think in the optical industry in general, like there really aren't that many women. So a lot of times we'll go to these optical events or optical trade shows, and Athena and I are kind of like literally the only two Asian women, and that's why people remember us, because they remember us every year because they're like, oh, it's you two girls. We're the only ones. And even starting out, like, of course we were brand new in the optical industry, but I think it took a while for the manufacturers or different vendors to really take us seriously. It took time, and I think, I don't know necessarily if it's because we're Asian American women that, we had to prove ourselves, but it did definitely take some time.
Is that like in just in terms of building relationships so that they would produce your glasses or like listen to what you wanted to do in terms of design and things like that?
Yeah, I think that part, maybe just like prioritizing our requests. We weren't always, we were also small fish, but we always, the same way that we approach like creators that we want to work with, we want that same level of respect and authenticity and transparency with our vendors as well, like our factories. And
yeah. Well, for people who are out there listening and thinking about starting businesses or trying things, like what would you say is the rewarding part of it?
There's a lot. I honestly, like, the community is just so great. I think there's so much power in finding. I think, let me go back to the beginning. Like, in the beginning, we didn't know who our customers were, and we didn't know what they wanted, and not just the product. Like, I think we just didn't really understand the value of our mission and how our products could kind of go beyond just products and become something that really helps empower them. And I think over the years that has become so much more clear to us, and that's really what drives us. And I think we're so grateful that we have that opportunity to be a part of their lives in that way. And I think just owning your own business, like, it's great. You have so much flexibility. You kind of have control really over your own destiny. Like, if you don't do the work, nothing's going to happen.
So true, right? Yeah. Well, I love that evolution, because like at the beginning, it was like really just like you're trying to fix a problem, basically, of like not having glasses fall off your face. And then over time, you're just starting to recognize that people really were like, wow, like this feels so different to wear your glasses. And they were saying that to you. And is that when you started to discover it?
Yeah. I think when I hear these stories, or even when I see them in person, kind of, and have these like physical interactions with them where they're trying our products and they're kind of just telling us more about what their experience has been like, and while shopping for eyewear, what it's been like in the market. And I think that's been so like vital for me and Athena as we think about how we want to grow our brand and different decisions that we make or different partners that we want to partner with. It's honestly driven a lot by our community feedback. So one thing that we started doing was, we really felt like our frames became kind of this tool for empowerment, right? Because when people see themselves or try their frames on, they feel seen, they feel more confident. And so at our shop, we started focusing on more events that were really focused on empowerment versus having it feel so salesy and transactional. So we've been doing like monthly nature walks, which I think is just so cool. We have a really great community there that just keeps growing, and we meet once a month for like a little morning meditation and group walk, and it's been really, really powerful just to kind of hear the stories that come out of there as well.
That's so sweet. I love that you do that. And you guys are in SoCal. I'm like, oh, I'd come out too. That sounds really fun. And did you find too, like in the last, I mean, I don't even know how many years now, but like with the rise of like Korean culture and other cultures like being more popular in America, like is it making a difference in terms of people's interest in it? Or also maybe I'm curious also about the fashion inspiration you guys might get from what's coming out of Asia. So let's start with the first question, which is like as the with the rise of K-pop in particular and K culture,
Mhm.
but there's other influences obviously out there. Like has it affected your business or helped your business grow?
That's a really great question. I don't know specifically. I mean, I think it's really great because everyone has become more open to just different cultures in general, not just
Mhm.
K-pop, right? People are
Right.
more open to trying Korean food, but also other types of food, and it's become more normalized, especially for the youth, which I think is the most like important time of someone's life, right? It's like when you become exposed to things like that at a young age, you're way more accepting of it, and it just becomes normal for you. Um, so I think in that sense, it's helped us. But a lot of our customers, I don't know if they're big K-pop fans, but
I mean, I always laugh because I have a pair from you that I call my K-drama glasses because they
oh,
feel very, yeah, they feel very like, I don't know, there's something about them. I'm like, I really feel like I'm in a K-drama. They're the ones I get compliments on too.
mm,
So, yeah, well, I'm curious too, like, yeah, in terms of design inspiration, like, where does that come from for you? And I'm sure it comes in lots of different places, but I'm curious if like Asia too, like, does provide some of that as well.
yeah. Our My co-founder is actually the designer of all of our sunglasses, but I will say that almost all of our inspiration comes from our community,
Hmm.
because again, they're the ones telling us what they want to see. So they'll tell us, oh, can you make this shape? I wish it was wider. I wish it was more narrow. I wish it was in this color, this pattern. So we're really always trying to find ways, we're always listening to what they have to say, whether it's, in store, whether they send us a message, or we can kind of see it also in the data as well. So it always comes back to our customers.
Yeah. Well, I like on the website too, like it has the different face shapes, but then I was like, I don't know if I know what my face shape is like for the glasses that fit in. But was that something that came also from customers who are like, I need more help in terms of like figuring out what shape would work for me?
Yeah. I think that's always, it's always nice to have someone help you with that because you're not really sure. And so, yeah, we have a virtual try on that also does analyze your face shape. So after you do the
Oh, okay.
scan, it'll tell you what your face shape is, which I think is a really good place to start. Um, you can also send in a selfie to our team.
Then you guys can help.
Yeah, we'll do personalized consultations.
Yeah, because I got to actually, they had a booth, right? So I got to just like try on a bunch and be like, what do you like? I was with my friend and we were just checking all the different shapes out. And then I was laughing because she went back to go buy also optical glasses, and I went back to buy a second pair of sunglasses because we were just like, wow, these are great. So it was fun. So it was just like so fun to do that. Yeah. Well, what would I? Let me see. I was just listening in for the last thing before we get into our rapid fire questions. Where are you guys going? Where would you say like Covry's going at this point with the business and the growth?
um, our goal was always to have Covry be like a household name
Hmm.
and really be the go-to place for all things eyewear. So that's always the direction that we're trying to head in.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. Okay. Well, are you ready for some rapid fire questions?
I think so.
They're easy. They're super easy. Okay. Well, the first one is what is the last thing you watched on television?
It's on Netflix. I don't know the name, but it's like 100 chefs. It's a Korean show where there's 100 chefs and they kind of battle it out to see who's the best.
Oh, that's fun. I feel like I've heard of that one too. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, sounds fun. I love a cooking show.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Well, what's on your nightstand?
I have a reading light and a little toy that kind of glows up at night.
I love it. I actually have one more rapid fire question that's not on this list, but I'm going to throw it in right now. How many pairs of glasses or sunglasses do you have?
All of them. So
You have all of them. You have the
too
whole
many.
I was thinking that because it's been really fun for me to kind of switch for different outfits and stuff, which I've never done before. I've only ever had usually like one pair of sunglasses that I wear all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was curious. I'm like, she must have a lot.
It's the perks of owning my own eyewear.
Yeah, exactly. You have so many. So many. Okay, that was my random rapid fire. Okay, the next one is, when was the last time you tried something new and what was it?
Let me try something new. I took pottery, like wheel pottery classes, which was really fun. It was really hard. Like my instructor makes it look so easy, and it's a little bit frustrating at times, but it's also very therapeutic to kind of just sit there and try to do something with your hands.
Cool. I've always wanted to try pottery, but yeah, I know it's a skill to like throw well. Okay, last one. What are your top 3 most used emojis on your phone?
Sunglasses, the blue heart, and let me look at let me see what I've sent people. Oh, the prayer, thank you emoji.
Thank you, hands. Yeah, amazing. I love it. Awesome. Well, Florence, what is the best way for people to get their own pair of glasses, or to, if they're interested, to start to find a pair of Covry optical lenses?
Yeah.
Or frames, really, frames. Not, you can do lenses, but frames.
Yes, we do have lenses too. You can go to shopcovry.com, or you can just check us out on Instagram, Shop Covry, and get some inspiration. And you can always email us too, because we would love to help you in your journey of finding your perfect frames.
I didn't have one more question. I almost forgot. How did you come up with the name Covry?
It took us so long to find a name. That was one of the hardest things about starting a business. But we ultimately landed on Covry. So it comes from the word cove. We just love how peaceful and natural you feel at a cove. And then we wanted to make it our own word for trademark purposes. It's just a lot easier to trademark and kind of give its own meaning. So we made it Covry.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, and I was thinking that. I was like, I forgot to ask that. That one is so, because it's a sweet name. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, amazing. So go to shopcovry.com, check out the glasses. I'm often on my Instagram also wearing my pair. And then you can do the test where you shake your head and they don't fall off your face or move. And then you'll know that they really fit well. Well, Florence, thank you so much for coming on. I love the conversation. I love what you all are doing in the world. It's really inspiring. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Nicole. So fun. Thanks for having me.